Okay, so I'm going to go over a quick debug on the map search using Firefox. I like using Firefox because it works across all the systems I use and has some really good developer tools. So I'm on a customer site, and one of the issues they're having here is they're saying that when they search for locations within a specific country, in this case Jamaica, it's not coming up with any locations. So I'm going to go down to their form here, and it's going to load up by default and show us some of their locations. So the initial search settings are different than, or can be different than, the way a search works. So I'm going to look into what their search is actually doing. I'm going to start by going to the browser's developer tools, and I am going to turn on the network panel so I can see what's going on. And some of this will go out of screen here. I'm going to try to move this up so we can see it, but it's hard to see with this little video window here. Anyway, so I'm going to reload this page, and I'm going to make sure inside this network panel that I have XHR turned on. That's going to show me the browser to server communications only. I don't need to see all the HTML and CSS right now for this particular issue. So I can see here that it sent an AJAX request to the server, and if I look here, I can kind of get an analysis of what's going on this request. Now, what I can see here on this particular server is that it's calling the backend AJAX, and that I am getting a response on the initial load. Okay, so that all looks okay, and I can see that I'm getting objects back. We don't need to look at those details right now. So now I'm going to show you what happens. I go into the country and I find locations, and I'll bring this back up, let it do its work. So again, it's calling the back end, and I see my response array is empty. That means there's a problem here, and I want to know what's going on. Well, the first thing I can see is that the query, this is coming back from our process in Store Locator Plus, this is the latitude and longitude that the search is being centered from. So this is telling us that the browser thinks that the user, me in this case, is located at this address. Most likely, because I did not allow location sensor, this is going to be their center map at latitude and longitude. I've already looked this up. It's in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. Also, I can see that the search radius, whenever someone performs a location search, not the initial page load, is set to 10. So that means this is only going to show me locations within 10 miles of the middle of the Caribbean Sea. And in this particular query, it's only going to be locations within 10 miles of the middle of the Caribbean Sea, where the country is actually set to Jamaica. And I can see that here in this query string. If I look at this long SQL query string, I can see what that is set to. So obviously the problem is you're not going to have any places in Jamaica within 10 miles of the middle of the Caribbean Sea. So I can test this theory by going to headers, and in the latest version of the system here, it gives you an edit and resend option. So I can do this. Here's the URL it's going to post to, and I can look at the actual data that's being sent to the backend server. And if I look down through this long list of settings that are going in there, there's the radius set there to 10 miles, and I'm going to see what happens if I set my default radius to 500 miles and send this query. And I'm going to resend the query. It sent it to the server here, and here's my response, and I've got locations in Jamaica. So that's how you do a quick debug session to try to figure out what's going on. In this case, the initial radius for a follow-on search is set too low. Thanks for watching.